Okay, so it is the wee hours of Thursday, my dudes, and time for an old man yapping. Do a little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. I am at a crossroads. And that crossroads is that this weekend, I was talking to a friend of mine, a guy I've known for 12 years, and we got to talking about my time in corporate America, and we got to talking about, like, my previous work experience and whatnot, and he said I should apply at his company. And maybe it was the amount I'd been drinking, but it was definitely the amount I'd been drinking. I said, yeah, what the fuck? Why not? So I told him to DM me because if he didn't, I will the entire conversation, and because I'm drunk, and then I won't know what the fuck he's talking about. So he did DM me, and he said, hey, get me an updated resume, and I updated my resume, and I sent it out to him, and I looked back at my updated resume, and it was last updated in May of 2006. I'm fucking serious. I had not updated my resume for almost 20 years. That's how long it's been since I needed to update my resume. That's ridiculous. Because I was working all the way up through 2009. It wasn't until May of 2009 that I actually, like, went out and became a performance and success coach. And then packed all that in and said, I'm going to be a game developer. Like a dumbass. But one of the things that we were talking about was, I don't know if any of y'all read my Substack, but I wrote an article on it earlier. I think this article's out. I think it's actually been published now and isn't, like, scheduled. If it is scheduled, it'll be out in a couple of days. But I wrote this article that's it's about being bad at things. I was talking about it's difficult when you're older and you've been good at things, and you know what it is to be good at things and to work hard and to do a good job because you're good at a thing, and then you go and you do something like art and you're bad at it. And it's important to do things that you're bad at because that reminds you that, number one, you're not good at everything. There are going to be some things that you're bad at. But damn, does it suck. I don't like being bad at things. I know what it is to be good at things. I want to be good at things. Every time I do a thing, I want to do a good job. I want to work hard. I want to do a good job. And I'm really kind of feeling disillusioned and demoralized about my art in particular. The music, not so much. I'm still good at music. There's some stuff that I'm still working on. I'm trying to do some sound design and get a good synth sound. That's a thing that I'm working with at the moment on the music for the game. And the problem is that when DJ dangled in front of me, you could come back to corporate America. I miss corporate America. I really do. I mean, I spent a long time there, so I'm comfortable there. And And I'm good at stuff. I'm good at stuff in corporate America. I'm good at dealing with managers, and I'm good at dealing with colleagues, and I'm good at dealing with subordinates, and I'm good at managing schedules. I'm good at documentation. I'm good at report. I'm good at all of the stuff that you do in a corporate job because I did it for 30 years. How long was it specifically? It was actually about 23 years. That I was doing corporate stuff. And then I went and said, I'm going to be a coach for a while, and being a coach is different. I mean, there's good things about being a coach. My schedule being a coach basically went like this. I had a page on my website that you would go and fill out, and you would put down all of your information. And you would say like what you're interested in and what your problem was. I literally had a blank that said, "What's your problem?" Because I thought that was really funny. But you go and you fill out the form, and you go like, "This is all of my things," and then you submit it, and I would turn around and I would send back, "Okay, your coaching call is going to be on this date at this time, and here's an invoice for $500," because I was charging $500 an hour for the call. And every week I would just go on Sunday. Typically Saturday night. I would go Saturday night after sundown, and I would look over everything, and I would figure out how I was going to schedule it all. And I'd schedule the emails to go out late Sunday night so they'd arrive early Monday morning. People would get to work and they would be there. And I would go through and I would schedule everybody's time. And typically over the course of a week, I would have like 6 to 10 coaching calls that I needed to do. And at the upper end, I would schedule like 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. And at the early level, I would schedule like 5 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. Or sometimes I'd do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday split, and I'd do like half in the morning, half in the afternoon. But it's basically, you know how they say in a typical day at a full-time corporate job, you only work 2 hours? That's not true. But with this coaching thing, I was definitely only working 2 hours because that's what I was scheduling. And it was nice, you know, because I would send out the invoices, and then throughout the week is just like I'd get on the phone with somebody and I'd go, "Hey, did you send in the invoice?" And I had some issues a couple of times. So I switched to the point where I would say, be sure to pay your invoice before your call. And if you hadn't paid your invoice, I didn't call you. If I told you that your call is going to be at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, I would go and check at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. And if your $500 hadn't arrived, I didn't fucking call you. And I had one guy get mad about that, and because he got mad about that, I changed the way the web page worked, and I changed the way the web page worked so you were charged the $500 just for asking for the call. And that did not go over too well for a while. A lot of people complained and went, "I was going to fill out your form, and then I realized I had to pay before you even scheduled my call." It was like, I don't care. You don't pay, you don't get the call. That's how it works. And that's fairly liberating when you have that kind of thing. When you're getting like $3,000 to $5,000 a week, just like having a page on your website and checking it every weekend. How much money did I make this week? Oh, I made this much. Cool. I'll do my phone calls. And you only work 2 hours a day, and it's fairly simple, but it drove me fucking nuts because I'm working with these people who have small and medium businesses, and what would happen is I would get on the call with them, and they would say, "I got a problem." And I go, what's your problem? The problem is I got this guy that works for me, and he does a shit job, and he's a jerk, and he's mean to the other employees. Nobody likes him, and it's like, it's impacting productivity. People will like have a conversation with him, and then they'll be mad, and they'll go piss and moan around the office, and they'll talk to somebody else, and now I got like 5 people that are like, God, that guy's a dick. Well, you have to fire that guy. Well, I can't fire him. He's got skills I want to keep. It's not worth it. You got to fire that guy. You got to get rid of it. If you got a dickhead in your office and he's impacting the work of other people, you got to fire him. You got to get rid of him. And, you know, I mean, honestly, I would do it very publicly. I would like call a meeting and I would go, hey, I want a status update from everybody. Hey, what's your status? Hey, what's your status? And then you get him and you go, oh yeah, you're fired. Get the fuck out. Because that will make an impression on your office. And if he goes, I'm fired, why am I fired? You're fired because nobody likes you, because you're a dick, because you impact the work in the office. Nobody likes you. Nobody wants to talk to you. You're impacting productivity. You know, obviously the rest of the office doesn't like you. Get the fuck out. Part of my appeal is that I'm kind of brusque about how I handle office situations. And it's like there's I think I've told this story before, but I was giving a presentation to a bunch of Navy brass, and an admiral did that thing where he kind of halfway raised out of his seat. He took his hand and he put him out on the table. And he put his hands out on the table, and they do that to make themselves look really big and imposing. It's the same reason that they kind of get halfway out of their chair. They're not standing up, but it's just by raising up out of their chair, they look tall and they look big, and they make themselves big the way that prey animals do in front of a predator when they're like trying to scare it away. I think the effort here is to intimidate, but I always think of it like, you know, it's like when a cat puffs themselves up to try and make themselves look big in front of a predator. That's the way I always see it. And he like half rose out of his chair and he said, I think this seems too complicated. And I pointed at him and said, watch me not care. And the tension in that room... You don't talk that way to an admiral. You just don't. Everybody's just like, you have to respect his office. You have to respect his rank. I'm a civilian. His rank is fucking irrelevant. And there was this long, tense moment, and then he sat back down and he asked me a question about it. And I answered the question, and he asked a number of questions that, there's a thing that government people will do where they will listen to you, and they will parrot something back that they heard. And they're very much paying attention. They're very much listening to everything that you say. So they'll ask a question about something that you said earlier in your talk. And they have no fucking clue what this thing they're asking about is. What they're doing is they're running their bullshit detector on your answer. They don't know what the fuck this thing is. And they know that you know that they don't know what the fuck this thing is. And they're going, okay, if I ask him what this thing is, if I ask him about it, is he going to just blow smoke up my arse? Or is he going to give me a serious answer? And I have always operated under the assumption that he's going to remember my answer. And that he knows somebody, because sometimes they do, that he knows somebody who will be able to tell him whether one or another thing that I said is just complete fucking bullshit. So you got to be 100% earnest. And I've always done that in presentations. When you do a presentation for brass, you always tell them actually what they're asking for. But you try and couch it in terms that matter to them. Like, for an admiral, you're talking about operational readiness, and you're talking about the ability of his people to be ready for whatever happens. When you're talking to a financial guy, you're talking about how this relates to the bottom line. He cares what things cost. If you're talking to an executive, you're frequently talking about predictability and risk. They don't like risk. They like something that works the same every time. And you kind of pay attention and make sure that you hit what matters to them. But I've wandered way off topic here. So anyway, I'd tell somebody how to handle the problem that they had. And then at the end of the call, they'd go their way and I'd go mine. I'd go off to the next call. But sometimes that person would book another call. And when I got on the call, they would say, I got this guy and he's not really doing a good job and everybody hates him. And I'd be like, are you talking about the guy from like last month that we talked about? Yeah, and he's a real problem and I don't know what to do. You fire him. Oh, I don't really want to do that. Look, we talked about this last time. It doesn't matter if that's what you want to do or not. We talked about how you don't want to do it, but that's still what you got to do. That's the solution to your problem. You got to fire him. No, you don't understand. I don't want to. That's what soured me on coaching. The number of people who would call you with a problem and you would tell them the solution to the problem, and then they would call you again with the same problem, expecting, I don't know, a different solution. There isn't one. That's the solution. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what 5 plus 3 is. It's 8. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what 5 plus 3 is. It's 8. I don't really like that. It doesn't matter whether you like it. 5 plus 3 is 8. That's the answer to your question. 8. That's all. And that's what put me off of that. And that's why I went into, and I didn't even go into game development immediately. I was always thinking about building the game, but I didn't really kind of buckle in on it for several years. I was just like, I got to get better at art so I can make art for my game. Technically still working on a game, but not working on a specific game for a good while. Anyway. I was fairly good working as a coach, but clients suck, and I hate them. And I don't want to have clients anymore. And the game development thing is, it's frustrating that, I mean, I've been writing C# for over 20 years. But I don't really intuitively know my way around the Godot engine and API. And I'm working on a type of game that I've never built before, so it has a lot of aspects that I've never built before in a game. And I know the language, but I don't know the library, and I know how to do stuff, but this stuff in particular, I'm solving these problems all over again. And I've looked at other people's solutions to these problems, and there's a lot of stupid people out there writing games and making tutorials, and they don't really know what they're doing. And it's very frustrating. And you get that thing with tutorials. When you watch tutorials, you learn how to do this thing and you learn how to do that thing, but you don't learn how to put the two things together. Okay? And sometimes you don't even have to get very far into the second thing to go, those two things won't go together. Those don't work together at all. And that frustrates me because I look at that and I go, you know, a less experienced developer would not know that. And they'd go through both of those tutorials and then they'd be trying to mesh those two things together. And they can't and they won't. And it's not going to work for them. Some of that's unavoidable because building your stuff in a way that it fits together with your other stuff, that's a skill. And if you're trying to mix and match tutorials, that's hard to do. You have to take just like the core information, but nobody really seems to be doing just the core information. And that's very frustrating. But anyway, you add on top of that the art, which I'm still not good at. I'm tired of not being good at stuff. I am tired of it. I want to go somewhere that I'm comfortable, and I want to do something that I'm good at. And I want to have people that I work with who can appreciate that I'm good at the thing I do. I miss that. I miss having colleagues and managers and subordinates who recognize and appreciate that I'm good at what I do. I have no idea whether this application is going to go through. I have no idea whether I'm going to get a job here. But I miss it. I miss being good at things. And I don't know, I agonize over this. I go, am I chickening out? Am I running away from my problems by saying, I'm not going to work on my art anymore. I'm not going to work on my game anymore. I'm just going to go and write code for some people. Well, I'm not going to be writing that much code, I don't think. It's a security consultant position, so it's pen testing and reporting and dealing with that kind of stuff. But I'm tired of not being good at what I do. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be good at what I do. And that puts me at a crossroads because if I take this job, I'm not going to have time to do multiple videos a week. I'll still do showing up. That's a very low effort kind of video. And it will force me to continue keeping up with my art. And I'll keep up with the Substack. I'll keep posting on the Substack, making sure that I get my 1,000 words in every week. Making sure that I get my 1,000 words in every week and my 20 minutes of art practice in every week. But I'm not going to have time I'll probably have time, but I can't interrupt the middle of my work week with old man yapping videos. That's not something I can do. I'll need to focus during the week and make sure that I get my shit done. And I'm a workaholic. I'll be working 10 and 12 and 14 hours on shit. And you won't be able to stop me. I'm going to have to get a second computer. Because I'm very kind of persnickety and particular about about keeping work and personal separated. Like until 2011, I didn't have any games on my computer. I didn't have a Steam account until 2011. Because I only played console games. And that was specifically so work was on my computer, gaming was on my console. That was that. And I'm going to have to do a similar kind of thing where I've got this computer is for work, this computer is for personal stuff. Because you don't check your personal email on your work computer. You don't log into social media on your work computer. You absolutely don't play video games on your work computer. None of that stuff gets done on your work computer. Your work computer is for work, and that's all. I don't know, maybe I'll get lucky and they'll want to like send me a company laptop or something. Or like let me expense one. If I get a job offer, if I take the job offer. I interview well. If they want to interview me, I'll probably get an offer. As long as they don't lowball me ridiculously, I don't see any good reason I wouldn't take it. I know they're not going to pay me like Facebook money or Microsoft money. I don't actually care about the money. I don't care about money in general, to be perfectly honest. I just want to do something I'm good at. The money has never really been about the money for me ever. The money is about whether my employer respects me, because I know that's how they express that. That's how they say, oh, we respect your skills, we respect your abilities. They say that with a number. I don't care. I can live so fucking cheap. This would be a good way to I could recoup the money my wife embezzled from the company. Yeah. You get back to where I was before that whole thing broke up. It'd take 3 or 4 years, probably. Maybe 5. I think I want to target 5. I think I want to target, if I get an offer and I take the offer, I think I want to target 5 years. And then figure out the next step then. Because why not, man? Why not spend 5 years working? And then see what it feels like and see where things are and see whether there's advancement potential, whether there's some place to go. If I spend 5 years doing the same shit, then I'll just bail, but the security thing is fairly new. I'm better at reverse engineering than I am at pen testing. I don't even know what the tools are anymore, man. But, yeah. Never done pen testing as a primary job role before, so that's kind of a new thing. What if I'm not good at it? I mean, I was okay when it was a thing that I had to do here and there, just like check this, check that. We'll do a little preliminary, and then we'll hire a red team to do the actual major test. Man, the security guys at Microsoft. We had a contractor come in and do it. We had a contractor from a company called N-Runs. And they made me feel like dog shit. They were just so fucking smart and so fucking good. And I was like, God damn. They're amazingly good at this. I remember one day I saw him walking down the hallway and giggling. And I went out and I was walking down the hallway with them. And they had taken a little HTC Windows Mobile device. And they had turned it into a credit card scanner. And we were immediately underneath like an executive boardroom where they would have meetings, and there was a meeting going on, and they were walking around with the thing, and it would be there. We got one, and we'd look at the name on it and we'd laugh. And oh my fucking God, that was ridiculous. That was back when that tap to pay thing was new. And like we were walking around, and one of their guys had just like in a day he had converted a Windows Mobile device into a long-range credit card scanner that worked through the floor. So we were going along and we were snagging credit card numbers for all of these executives upstairs and looking at them and deleting them. We didn't save any of the numbers or do anything with them. We were just like, oh, whose credit card number do you? Oh, it's this guy. And it was so funny because we were just like, that is such a huge security hole that you have this thing, you have this RFID chip that can be read. And what a lot of people don't know about RFID chips is RFID chips reflect. So the range of your RFID chip is determined by the power of the device you are using to read it. So you can read RFID chips from a substantial distance if you just have a powerful reader. And every cell phone has a radio in it. There's a radio in this cell phone, and you could use that radio to do any number of things. I remember when I was working at Bell Atlantic, I modified a Walkman with an AM/FM radio. I modified a Walkman to work on the RFID band that locked the doors, so I could just walk out. I could hold my Walkman up there, and I could move the radio dial, and then the door would unlock, and I could just go in. That was inappropriate. I shouldn't have done that. That was not a good thing to do. I was young. It's like 19, 20 years old. No, I wasn't 19, 20. I was like 22, 23. Still young. Still real fucking young. Man. Your entire perspective on everything changes when you have more of your life behind you than ahead of you. I'm not going to live to 110. That's tremendously unlikely. Don't get me wrong, I have every intention of living forever, but It's not like I'm in charge of that. There's going to come a time in human history when the anticipated longevity of a human being goes up by more than a year every year. And the child born after that tipping point is basically going to live forever. And that's going to change the entire dynamic of the human species. We may have already hit that point. I've seen human longevity go up by more than a year per year. A fair number of times. I don't know if it happens every year now. And, you know, we got our Health and Human Services Director going, we don't need mRNA vaccines. We just had a very promising result in using mRNA vaccines to cure AIDS, to completely fucking cure HIV. And now, dipshit roadkill eater wants to, he has discontinued mRNA research in the U.S. We might never recover from this. The United States may never recover. Because this is 6 months. In 6 months, he fucked up everything. I grew up in an America with so much promise and so much potential and so much opportunity. And I'm watching all of that go to hell in real time. I feel like a 50-year-old man in Weimar, Germany around mid-1930s, late 1930s. We never fucking learn. Just like I was talking to somebody earlier today about the quote-unquote failure of capitalism, and I was trying to communicate and failing miserably. I was trying to say, it's not capitalism that's the problem. It's cheating. It's fraud, corruption, and abuse. We have a tiny few people who suck, and they're trying to cheat so they can win. Nobody wins. This is life. You don't win. You live, you die, you're done. That's it. There is no winning. And she kept saying, that capitalism uniquely incentivizes this. No, it doesn't. It's only because you're talking about the specifics of wealth. Capitalism doesn't uniquely incentivize that. You can tell because look at any communist country, it's just not wealth. It's power. And in a capitalist country, wealth is power. It's about power. People want to gather so much power that they can do whatever they want all the time. And that never stops. It never changes. And the problem is that they're trying to gather power they have not earned. And she's like, no, capitalism is special. Capitalism is special in this. And I'm like, it's not. It's absolutely not. Socialist countries have this problem. The countries that have a long-lasting social order that works have that long-lasting social order not because they're capitalists, not because they're communists, not because they're socialists, not because they're libertarian or whatever the fuck, not because they're centrist, not because they have a balanced hybrid economy. None of that has anything to do with that. What gives a country's system longevity is that they detect, stop, and punish cheating. They have law enforcement that does their fucking job. Ours is just racist. Our whole law enforcement says it's nothing but racism all the way down. Fucking bigoted jackasses. Is that all cops are bastards? All cops are bigots. That's the problem. And it goes all the way back to 1963, for God's sake. It's the old song. It's an old song, your friendly liberal neighborhood Ku Klux Klan. If you don't like that, you can call the cops because chances are they're us. Not a fucking joke. And here we are over 60 years later, and it's more true than ever. That's the problem. We let this shit go on, and we don't do anything about it. And they brag. They brag about it. Look at Epstein and Maxwell and Trump. They bragged about it to the extent that they could without being arrested in the 1980s, which is a fairly large extent. It's fucking ridiculous. What we need to do is our Congress needs to get comfortable regulating shit again. Universal basic income is a great idea, and I have a fairly complex plan to implement it that would absolutely work. Take a while. I have no illusions about that. Our social safety nets right now are this mishmash hodgepodge of state agencies, federal legislation, acts of Congress, executive orders, departmental actions. It's just there's like 8 different ways that we've started programs to help the less fortunate. And if we put them all together, I was thinking about this earlier today. I was thinking that if we took all of those programs and we put them together and we turned them into universal basic income, we could, and I'm just back of the envelope calculation here, but we could send about $3,000 a month to every American by just combining all of these systems and having them all under one administration and not having establishment and verification of eligibility. which takes up like 80% of our social safety net right now. Like, I'm not fucking kidding. For every $5 we allocate to the social safety net, we spend $4 making sure that the poor person who applied actually deserves the one fucking dollar we give him. And that's bullshit. That's absolute fucking bullshit. We have more than 20% of America on these programs. If we just stopped giving a shit whether they're eligible and we just stopped verifying, if we just sent it to them no matter what, we could do that. We could give the SSI to everybody. We could give disability to everybody. We could give WIC to everybody. We could give SNAP benefits to everybody. We could give welfare to everybody. We give all of this shit to just everybody. And it would cost less than figuring out whether the person who has applied for it actually needs it. We just give it to everybody. It would be easier. We'd have money left over to increase it. But it's a politically difficult thing because it's like a lot of people don't understand that that WIC, for example, women and infant children, those WIC checks you get that are good for like a specific thing, you have to buy a particular product. Those are farm subsidies. We're guaranteeing that women with infant children buy shit that comes from farms. Well, I don't want any of this stuff to be limited. I want it all to be just plain fucking cash because fundamental economic principle. You know better than anybody else where your money should be spent. I used to be on SNAP benefits. I used to get $180 in SNAP benefits every month. I didn't need $180 in SNAP benefits every month. But this was back when we had actual food stamps. We had the actual little book of food stamps. And if you go to any homeless shelter, there's a guy in the parking lot who will buy food stamps for 50 cents on the dollar. Which, incidentally, and I found terribly amusingly, 50 cents on the dollar is what you get for moderately good counterfeit currency. So selling food stamps was a thing you could do for the same rate as counterfeit money. I found that interesting. Drug dealers take food stamps now. Drug dealers take SNAP benefits. They don't give them back. But they give you, like, it's a subscription. You give them your SNAP card, your EBT, and they use that to buy groceries for people they care about. Because drug dealers can't really use banks. They have too much money, so they have a lot of cash. They don't want to carry a bunch of cash down to the bank or down to the grocery store. So what they'll do is they'll take these SNAP benefit cards and hey Tyler, you've been running drugs for me for a couple of months, and it's time for you to get paid, and you're going to get paid like $120 this week. Take this EBT card and go buy your grandma $120 worth of groceries. If you want cash, get it from your grandma when you give her the groceries. They take Tide. Drug dealers take Tide. I lived with one in Portland. I lived with a guy who dealt meth and heroin. Weird fucking situation. But he took the big bottle of Tide. And the reason he took the big bottle of Tide was you can take the big bottle of Tide to like any fucking grocery store or drugstore and return it and say you don't have your receipt, and a bottle of Tide is a bottle of Tide. If the store carries a bottle of Tide, they'll give you the money. I told him he should conduct arbitrage. He didn't know what that was. I said, look, you go around town and you check the price of Tide at all these different stores, okay? And when you find the store where it's cheapest and the store where it's most expensive, you buy it from the store where it's cheapest and you return it at the store where it's the most expensive. It's just free money. And he said, that's a good idea. Never did it that I know of. Arbitrage is the most basic type of trade. It's the most basic thing. You find a place that's selling something cheap, find another place that's selling it expensive, and you take it from here to there. Basic arbitrage. Buy low, sell high. That's literally the word for that. Buy low, sell high equals arbitrage. The problem with our world right now is that everybody is trying to cheat. And I believe, but cannot prove, the fault for this can be laid at the feet of Napster. Because I think the rampant piracy of music led to the rampant piracy of television, which led to the rampant piracy of movies, which led to the rampant piracy of games. And now that we've got all this piracy, now that we've got all of these people that are pirating software, and that are pirating games, and they're pirating movies and television and music, now that we have all of these people that will steal something because they don't want to pay for it, we have raised 2 entire generations of morally fucking bankrupt people. Nobody listened to me when I said this was a problem. They still don't listen to me when I say it was a problem, when I say it is a problem, when I say it's caused the problem. I've told people over and over again, the problem with piracy is not that you are getting something without paying for it. It's not that the person you quote unquote should be paying for it doesn't get the money. Sometimes it is. The problem is that it makes you into a thief. It makes you into a person that thinks this is okay, that thinks this is acceptable behavior. And it gets easier every time. Every time you steal, it gets easier to steal. It gets easier to justify. It gets easier to say, oh, well, it's always moral to steal from corporations. Oh, well, it's always moral to steal when it's under $5. It's always moral to steal when you don't have the money. I've seen people with 6-figure salaries pirating Adobe Photoshop on principle. What principle is that? Oh, that Adobe sucks and I hate them. Then don't use their product. Don't use it. Don't like it. I don't know what the issue. I don't know what the issue is here. Why would you hate a company so much that you don't want to give them money, but not enough that you don't want to use their product? Oh, it's because it's inconvenient. That's why it is. We have all of these childish, entitled shitheads running around. And it's just... It buggers the imagination. It really does. Like, how hard is it to just not give your money to people you don't like? And if you're not giving them money, you can't have their stuff. If you hate Adobe, there are other products. You can get Rebelle. Rebelle. You can get Rebelle. It's like $100, one-time purchase. You can get Clip Studio Paint. It's like $60, one-time purchase. You can get Krita. It's fucking free. I don't know what to tell you if you hate Adobe enough not to give them money, but you don't hate them enough not to use their fucking product. It's the principle of the thing. Don't use a product from a person you hate. I'm going to pirate the Harry Potter game. Look, if you hate J.K. Rowling and you don't want to give her money, don't engage with anything Harry Potter. Ever. Under any circumstances. Look, I have the Lego Harry Potter games. I have all the Lego Harry Potter games. But I don't play any of the Lego games anymore. Because Warner Brothers Interactive, who put out Lego games, put out the Harry Potter game, the Hogwarts Legacy, whatever the fuck. I don't play any of their games anymore. I don't play the Batman games. There's a bunch of games that I don't play because I am offended as hell by the actions of the company that made them. Not perfect. Still listen to Marilyn Manson. But that, it's like... I haven't watched season 2 of Sandman because Neil Gaiman... I didn't want to believe the allegations against Neil Gaiman. When they told me, oh, Neil Gaiman, he did this, he did that, he did the other. And it was just like broad statements. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I just really don't. And then one of the victims wrote a very long and detailed account of exactly what happened. And I'm not like personal friends with Neil Gaiman, but I've followed him on social media forever. And I've followed his wife, Amanda Palmer, on social media forever. And I love the hell out of both of them. I consume all of their content in all kinds of different ways. And when this victim put out an account of exactly what happened with Neil Gaiman, and I read that account, he did that shit. Like everything she says, oh, he said this. Neil would say that. He did this. Neil would say that. And that's fucking horrifying because it's like, you know, Neil is like, I thought Neil was a good guy. And Amanda, you know, Amanda would like say, oh, I was so horrified. We were in Germany and we did a show and there was this German couple and the woman did this thing and it was very, very uncomfortable. But then you hear people say, Amanda did this and Amanda said this and here's the way that it unfolded. And it's like, that's Amanda. She would have done that. She would have said that. And when you really like connect those dots, it's the depth of the disgust, okay? Because like, you don't want to believe they did this. You don't want to believe Neil did it. You don't want to believe that Amanda did it. And then you get to Marilyn Manson. Oh, he fucking did it. He fucking did it. You know he fucking did it. People are like, well, how could you still listen to him? How did you not know he did it? Marilyn, there is a recording on the Smells Like Children EP of the entire goddamn band sexually assaulting someone. And it's ostensibly consensual. But they don't care. It's fairly clear. I mean, it's like... I don't have it on the shelf, I don't think, but... It was autobiography. You read his autobiography, he's like, we totally assaulted this woman. It's like, she was into it, she liked it, she wanted it, but, you know, fucking hell, we were just like, we were being dicks. We did this, we did that, we did the other, we pissed on her. If you didn't know Marilyn Manson was a sexual predator, what fucking planet were you on? And I don't know. I mean, it's like, I give him credit for being what it says on the tin, you know? I knew from day fucking one. And for God's sake, I was at his concert back in, what was it, 95, 96? It was definitely before 98. I saw him at the 930. I saw him at the 930, and Trent Reznor was up at the bar. And like, and like after he was off stage, I was up there. I was talking to Trent Reznor, and we were just shooting the shit. And then Trent went backstage, and I was like, hey, and people were just like, oh my God, you know Trent Reznor. I'm like, who the fuck is Trent Reznor? I had no goddamn idea who he was. This would have been in the Smells Like Children era. Smells Like Children era. It would have been right around Portrait of an American Family, Smells Like Children. I saw Manson in concert. And he was assaulting women while he was on stage. In the audience. How do you not know? That's who he is. He's a jerk. He's a terrible, awful fucking jerk. I never hid it. Never made a secret of it. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Can't really be mad at him. Plus, Antichrist Superstar is a fucking incredible album. I mean, musically, it's not as good as Mechanical Animals. Thematically, it's not as good as Hollywood. And just personal preference, Golden Age of Grotesque is fucking amazing, but that's weird, you know? It's amazing in a weird way. Kind of like Doppelherz is a masterpiece of modern cinema, but you got to be kind of fucked up to think that. So many people that I used to respect are turning out to be fucked up. I've always wondered whether Marilyn Manson fucked Lady Gaga. They did a remix of Love Game together. And I'm like, so they've been in the same room. I don't know if I could be in the same room with Marilyn Manson and not fuck him. I don't know if I could be in the same room with Lady Gaga and not fuck her. Well, not like at a concert. Like if you're at a show, then... If you're at a show, it's different. Not that I wouldn't at a show, but I would understand if it didn't happen at a show. But like in a private situation, and like I cannot imagine being alone in a room with Marilyn Manson, not going, I don't want to fuck him. Just to see, you know, if he's interested. Cannot imagine being in the same room with Lady Gaga. Want to fuck? I feel like Lady Gaga would be disappointing. I don't know why. I get this sense that Lady Gaga is not a great fuck. I could be wrong. I clearly have no frame of reference. I have no data set to base this on. I just kind of, I look at her and I listen to her talk and I go, I feel like this is a girl who would fuck you, but then you wouldn't be very impressed, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But she strikes me. She strikes me as the kind of woman who's disappointing. Because of reasons. Manson's probably offensive. If you fucked Marilyn Manson, he would probably do something fucked up just to make you go, oh man, that was nasty. He shouldn't have done that. He would do that on purpose. So, yeah, you know. Oh, hi, Marilyn Manson's a sexual predator. And? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. I really don't. But, I do have to pee, so I think I'm going to sign off here. I wonder if I'm going to remember any of this. I'm going to write the description while drunk, so God only fucking knows what I'm going to do about that. Okay, bye.